And then there's also the whole topic of, the topic of burnout. That's a big thing. So you know that. I mean, I've even heard from actually loads of people in and around the company that there's a fair few people basically live to the office. Like serious hours. Now some of that is like, I mean, really, and I'd do the same if I was there. If I was. Let's just say if I was 35 and I was sharing an apartment with 3 other, devs, we had, there's a shared kitchen, a shared bathroom. I have my room. I'm living like I was in university or something. And it's like not even, it almost feels like a student house. It's not good enough. It, like very different to, I guess, yeah, like very different to. Just, how it should be or whatever. And, maybe like you're 35 or something and you feel like, well, bloody hell, I mean, game development or software, how has this happened? You totally, and then you see the Blizzard campus and you're like, hang on, we've got Starbucks. I was at that Blizzard cafeteria, like Laura walked me through it and I was like, fucking hell, this is, I mean, I would be so jittery. I'd be drinking coffee all day. I'd be, and... and then they have the cool little library bits where people can chill out and some areas for games and stuff like that. Burnout is such a bastard, and you have this thing where they've probably made it a very luring campus to spend a whole bunch of time on, and even the this is back when the campus existed for people to work in, but whenever you were getting like the food trucks, and you see Blizzard employees tweet about those food trucks, and it's like, Jesus, wow, holy shit, this is great. Or maybe from our perspective, it'd be like Botanic Avenue comes to you in a truck, because we have a lot of food from like different parts of the world over here. It's kind of surprising.
Yep.
But you know what I mean, right? Like, you're going to feel like, shit, well, I'm just going to live in the office because you know what? I have my social circle here. I have a nice cafeteria. Stuff's good. I feel at home here. But what's going to happen there is you'll be spending a lot of time in the place that like cognitively is associated with work. And then, you could be working like 60 hours or 50 hours, but feel like, you're working 80 or something. And you have all of that. And then COVID happens. You're like, well, shit, what do I do with myself now? And especially, well, there's a lot of the time you couldn't really go outside that much and do things, could you? And then this is the other thing that was, very surprising to me about that area. Like, even when there was COVID and lockdowns and stuff, even following the government regulations to a T, we could go to the park at Botanic or Ormo or Lagged Meadows or something and just have a nice walk in nature. I mean, I remember, I've forgotten Thomas, yeah. Like the time when we were there for a Blizzard event, right? And we were like, because, we don't have Taco Bell here. They don't have Taco Bell in Poland. And, we just got on really well. We were both jaded about the Overwatch League. And we're like, yeah, fuck this shit. We're just going to go back to the hotel, do our jobs, and have a Taco Bell. And we walked to this Taco Bell. And then we walked back. And people were shocked. This is the craziest shit, man. People were shocked that we walked to Taco Bell in Burbank. Apparently, that was a very dangerous thing to have done. Now, I don't think it's really as dangerous as... I think that's probably people, being a wee bit over-exaggerating it, But Taco Bell was really not that good. Not worth. But it was that really weird thing, right? Where, like, we couldn't even go for a walk. I mean, like, if it's this thing of you're just supposed to, go do a regular... Or maybe it wasn't Burbank. It was around where the Overwatch League was. But I think, no, there did need to be something to take you to the Overwatch League from I think it was a Hilton or something. So, no, maybe it wasn't Burbank. The studio... that was it. The OWL studio was in Burbank, but I don't know if our hotel was there. But anyway, some people said that to me. I'm like, I mean, look, it didn't feel dangerous at all. But seemingly for some of the people there... Perhaps, perhaps they would have thought it was dangerous or something. But that weird thing of like, you're stuck at home, and of course it's not like this in all of the states. Because I've traveled through many small towns in the US where it does seem like you could really walk a lot of places, and you have a sort of a high street experience like what we would know. But certainly in that part, you're driving everywhere. And, you know, so you can't go on a stroll to the shop or a stroll to the park or something like that that's very relaxing. So just the level of burnout, I suppose, that you would get, like if, you know, you kind of relied in the office to keep you sane, which itself can be unhealthy as time goes on. And then you kind of go home and you're cut off from that like weird, almost codependent relationship with the workplace. So you're cut off from that. And you have like a weird digital version of that. You have nothing else to replace it with, but also your company is completely behind schedule in the project you're doing. I mean, goddamn. Like it does sound like an utter hellscape, you know, a real horrible situation to be working in. So I guess I just have to wonder to what degree, you know, if you were to do like a team health poll of the Warcraft development team, because everyone has mental health issues, you know, situations where somebody should have probably went to therapy, you can almost certainly see the curve of that go up over time, as it would in anywhere, and as it has for the entire world, I would say. But it just would seem especially bad for them because of the crunch and because of all of that. So they undoubtedly must be in this situation where, like, you know, they've just been in this fucking, you know, hell march that's never ended because they're always behind, because as soon as you ship Shadowlands, it's like, congratulations. Not only are you behind in all of the progress, like, you ship Shadowlands, it was a month late, so that's a month lost. It's a month late, which means it's messy, which means there's more fixing up of it post-launch. Now you're, like, super far behind in 9.1, so that needs to be delayed. And then, like, 9.1... yeah, that's the point I was going to make earlier. I had a point, and I went in this whole big thing while I've been trying to find my point again. It was about, remember I was saying about the dates, publication dates and stuff for content, and like how it's, you know, well, this is ship date. You have to ship by this date. Sorry, developer. I don't care if the system's not good. I'm a money man. Yeah. Like patch, what you call it? 9.1. It came out on like the last possible WoW patch release day in that quarter.
Yeah, I think it was the 29th and 30th of June.
So, if the WoW team believed that they needed to do more work in that patch, is there any way they could have? I would say almost certainly no, because it came out the very last day of the quarter, and that probably tells us something.
Yeah. Oh man, it's so brutal that you have to just wonder, like, or you just have to think about the incentives at play. Like, it's that short-sightedness of just, nah, we'll just release it because we need the MAUs this quarter. Like, why? To keep shareholders happy. Cool.
So those ain't happy MAUs.
What about the players? Do we not matter? The answer, obviously, to whoever is deciding the final ship date and pushing for the incentives, is a resounding no. That'll be the case in almost any company because that's just how it works, generally speaking. And it feels like there's just no way for them to push back against that. And it's like an organizational problem. I don't even know what the fix to that would be. It's a resoundingly depressing topic, of course.
Yeah.
But it's just that case of like, it's that focus on MAUs. It's just that focus, which is so apparent. And I think until they can provide a reason, which they never will, until they can provide a reason why it's not that way, it's the obvious one.
What gets measured gets managed.
Yeah.
They set it up so that MAUs are their benchmark for success. Therefore, the internal incentive structures will be aligned around those MAUs. The game developers are probably not going to want that. They're probably not going to design the game to get, you know, they're probably not going to want to actively do that because they're game designers. They're here to design a good game. But if you think about like the overall, I mean, Activision Blizzard reports in MAUs. You look at the recent Hearthstone promo. That is juicing MAUs if I've ever seen it.
Yeah, that is basically sacrificing some Hearthstone expenditure in terms of what users would buy, because maybe they'll, instead of buying packs, they'll buy the 6-month sub. That is paying customers almost directly for one extra average MAU, because that is for each customer that incentivizes logging in September for the mount, October for the mercenaries pack, and December for the additional packs.
Yeah.
So that averages out as 1 MAU per 6-month sub. It also pushes 6-month subs for Hearthstone people because it's a better deal for them. We did the maths when it was first announced, but it was like 20-30 quid more efficient to buy the 6-month sub than it was to buy the Hearthstone packs directly. And you're like, all right, you're not literally, because the term has legal connotations, but you are effectively bribing your user base to be an MAU. And that is so short-sighted and kind of betrays the entire problem we have in the first place.
Yeah.
Where are we supposed to be having fun in your games, or are we supposed to be engaging with your games once a month and then engaging with your shop to make you money? I guess that's, like you say, what gets measured gets managed. And they really should start measuring how people are thinking and feeling as opposed to what the big green numbers say.
Yeah, and I think it's the same people that are doing that are probably the same people that are more than happy to let all the bullshit that's happened inside Blizzard fester as long as the money keeps flowing.
Yeah.